DJ Super Blaze is in the mix.
Everything is authentic.
Everything is vintage. You know what it is, man.
High beams, wrist gleam coming down.
Let's go.
Painting pictures with these words. Call me Sebastien. Everything on.
We crossed over.
We don't fuck with gimmicks. You can't rush the
YouTube. What up? What up?
Do is witness. High beams coming down.
You know we're fresh off that.
Pictures with these words. Call me Sebastien.
Mixed Cloud Tour.
Everything
If you missed it,
we don't fuck with gimmicks.
It is what it is, man. Until next time.
Do is witness. Black drop back. My stacks.
Make sure you catch the mix. The campaign mix. Mixed Cloud. You know what it is.
Come on. Fuck the beat off guard. Now that's rapist. Top laid back. The beans. Now that's weightless. Gotta excuse me.
This one is called Breathe.
Break this.
Sorry, Trent Setter.
Y'all boys gonna need faceless. Fall.
Mike Ether. You know what it is.
Greatness.
The Ethers.
Cut before you take this. Cashmere playing gone for my 9-9.
Come on.
King fall off, they know that I find mine. Fuck you with an OG in the fine lines. White in the mirror on the all-time high. Shining since I came out the pussy, I blind guys. Eating with my team, you cannot define eyes. Squares out of circle, boy, I divide pies. Truth so big, cannot deny lies, huh? High beams, wrist gleam coming down your block. Painting pictures with these words, call me Sebastien. Everything authentic, we don't fuck with gimmicks. You can't rush the greatness, all you could do is witness. High beams coming down your block. Painting pictures with these words, call me Sebastien. Everything authentic, yeah, we don't fuck with gimmicks. You can't rush the greatness, all you can do is witness. Overseas singing melodies while I'm loafing. Smoking these 5 trees, you know I'm coughing. Bitch so exotic, that pussy, you know I'm lost in. Asset, and location, you know I'm bossing. No Marriott, yacht master of my submariner. My work stays Sebastien, no man, and I'm still cleaner. Talk like you got an army, but you ain't got no team. I just landed, nigga, smell like the Gulf Stream. You don't understand this, you better read a book. Look up Rap Genius, you better read my hook. I'm on another level, my shit be hard to reach. I can change religions, but they make it hard to preach. Thought you had friends, but you learned your lesson though. Pat these niggas down before you let them through the door. The game fucked up, I put it in the grapple. Painting pictures, nigga, Sistine Chapel. High beams, wrist gleam coming down your block. Painting pictures with these words, call me Sebastien. Everything authentic, we don't fuck with gimmicks. Can't rush the greats, all you can do is witness. High beams coming down your block. Painting pictures with these words, call me Sebastien. Everything authentic, we don't fuck with gimmicks. You can't rush the greatness.
Enemy of my tribe, upper mind, so what's happening? Government and all, y'all crossed the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you crossed the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my
Shout out to my Nijis out there, you know what it is, man. My Aboriginals, my Indigenous ones out there. All my American Maroons out there.
So what's happening? Government and all, y'all crossed the line, so what's happening?
Come on.
My ancestors wouldn't like you crossed the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji. Oh yeah, my Niji, my Niji. I do this for my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji. I do this for my
no one else, man. That's what we do this for. Autonomous Party Podcast. Make sure. Shout out to Mac at the God of Green. You know why we do this, man.
Enemy of my tribe, upper mind, so what's happening? Government and all, y'all crossed the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you crossed the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji. Oh yeah, my Niji, my Niji. I do this for my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji, my Niji. I do this for my Niji. Should've left me where I was, cause I ain't never scared. Took that little ice off my neck for this girl head. My nation, my Niji, someone thorough said. Real Americans, still pure blood, we thoroughbred. I'm like, let my people go and just take me instead. When it's red or blue pill, I'm only choosing red. I'ma always choose my people, you can keep that bread. Our government owe $1 trillion, you can keep that bread. If it's one thing Jim Crow is showing me, I don't want no white folks ruling over me. I don't want no politicians ruling over me. I don't want no po-po ruling over me. Only somebody just like me gon' treat me like me. I'm Anya Cherokee, Chief and Dr. G.L.E. I'm still a G like DST. Might not be as G as me. Think you free, but you need remedy to be as free as me. I'm from the hood, I'm still waking up my people. They got us good, they still hating on my people. When it comes to fashion, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to music, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to dancing, the whole world wanna be like us. Foreigners are doing everything, trying to weaken us. Sports, y'all can't fuck with us. Rhythm, know we killing y'all. Anything involve a ball. Mentally, we figured out the cosmos. After all, beating shit, we smashing y'all. It's time to take through asking y'all rights by blood. After all, Vatican and the Smithsonian got all our shit. Artifacts and relics still keeping us away from it. When they say that was a long time ago, that's racist shit. Y'all holy land keep stolen shit. We don't need y'all holding it. Reverse engineering our technology, controlling it. Gave it everything you got, but you can't put no soul in it. I ain't go see the new Matrix cause I'm living it. Everything is not what it seems, but I'm killing it. Can you afford to pay attention who you living with? Now they trying to mandatory vax, but is you getting it? Fall back off my knees, I'm peeping y'all tactics. This ain't no Earth war, this is galactics. Goddesses and gods warming up like practice. We gon' put arrows on your chest like that. Mongoloids can't style like us, them fake natives ain't wild like us. They ain't got a soul, destiny as a child like us. Nobody power like us, nobody peace pop like us. Boxing, y'all can't fight like us. Nobody lost they right like us. Wake them up, I'm in the way. Say too much, I'm in the way. They trying to kill us anyway, so listen what I'm finna say. Everybody, our kids, we raised y'all anyway. What that since he's finna say, everybody ain't here to stay. Is you with us or against us? Ain't no in between. I'm a non-ether being, not a human being. I'm fucking 1492, but all my allies what it do. Renegade got kicked for days, be careful, I advise you to. Yeah, my tribe of opera mind, so what's happening? Government and all y'all cross the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GM.
33,000.
I do this for my niche.
I was gonna let it ride out,
my niche. Oh yeah, I need you. I
shout out to my niche.
I need you. I do this for my niche.
Let's get into it, man. You know what it is, man. It's your Autonomous Party Podcast and Mix Show. I am your DJ Super Blaze. This is the campaign mix.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God,
8 to 9 o'clock.
Slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe.
Every Sunday right here.
Patents that go with
Shirley, let's go. Come on.
What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if we not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on the savior. Sitting prayers up, he texting back on vacation. God's children, give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. And shoot with God of Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turn on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we let this turn to something. Reincarnation of ancients, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the court. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man. You was slaves, you was prisoners of war. You stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our vernacular. They get paid and praised by the dollar long as they keeping us stagnant. And niggas think they woke, huh? Like you could change a whole world through a boat, huh? Like slave masters willing to let their slave go, huh? That slave master was probably your kinfolk, huh? History in reverse, a black king strategy. When blacks were your majesty, they always hide your pyramids but point to where the castles be. Aristocracies with your last name patent accurately. Yeah, you listening to and I ain't even tell half the shit. Like, I ain't even tell a quarter of the shit. I'm just getting started.
Just a little bit.
Y'all niggas rap about
shout to Trail Lee, man.
Busting guns and all this weird shit.
He bring a different understanding to the whole game through the music. I'm telling you, man. Let's get into something else real quick. A little something for the matriarchs out there. Come on, let's go. Shout to Drew Cobbs.
Let the melanin show. Such a beautiful glow. I wanna put my Dre 3000 in your love below. I usually switch them up every season or so. Pretty brown round, I like it when you come around. You know how I get down. We can skip town, take you to exotic beaches. Let the sun hit you and look at your exotic features. My Empress love thing, we go together like yin and yang. Ride or die, we got our own gang. Me and you loving this shit. She knows she my number one pick. She ride stick and don't need a learner's permit. We in our zone when the runs get lit. Cause I know you feeling me. You like how my spirit's free and how we build with the same energy. Drake Cobbs and you know I keep it low key. One hit of this pipe and turn into a dope feed. It's 10 toes down and you around. You know how we get down. Yeah.
Give it up, man. Drake Cobbs.
Let the melanin show. Such a beautiful glow. I want to put my Drake 3000 in your love below. I usually switch them up every season or so. Pretty brown round. I like it when you come around. You know how I get down.
Peace to the gods. Dre, what up?
Exotic beaches. Let the sun hit you and look at your exotic.
I ain't even seen you in the track.
First love thing. We go
shout to Monte.
like
What up?
Gang, ride or die. We got our own gang. Me and you loving this shit. She knows she my number one pick. She ride stick and don't need a learner's permit. We in our zone when the runs get lit. Cause I know you feeling me. You like how my spirit's free and how we build with the same energy. Drake Cobbs and you know I keep it low key. One hit of this pipe and turn into a dope feed. It's 10 toes down and you around. You know how we get down. Yeah.
Drake Cobbs in the building February 11th. Yes. Make sure you pull up.
Be my Mississippi and just flow with me. I give you parts you can only see. I wish the younger me
catch a man behind the music, you know what I mean?
Be right where we supposed to be. I just want to embrace you. Whole world trying to trace you. American goddess, your image all over the planet. The definition of organic. Your body is a work of art like Chichen Itza. This copper color is nice to meet you. She says she Cherokee, wear a feather in her hair. And I'm right there. It's quite clear. Me and you together with Spark Fest. It's UNITY in the universe intertwined. Causing eclipse like when the sun and the moon align. Now that's power divine that can light up the whole skyline. And touch your kiss, it gets me every time. Empress, you stay on my mind. You know you one of a kind because when I shine, you shine. Yeah.
Shout to State
like the American Indian Empress.
All my Empresses out there.
One of a kind.
Your smile
Let's get back to my Niji. Let's go. You know what it is, man. Drake Cobb's gonna be pulling up on us February 11th, so make sure you catch the interview, the movie, the show. You know what it is. You know how it's gonna go. Super Blaze, this is a campaign mix. Through the campaign, BSB. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. Let's go.
This shit hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. I blow his legs off, he gon' need a knee tag. You niggas sound worse than Eminem on relapse. And Burna Boy, he's trash. You thought I was gonna let you ease past? Running your mouth while taking our culture. Treat this nigga like brisket and slow roast him. Roll up an A.k.a. pack. I ain't ducking smoke, I just inhale and blow. I'm on demon time, then I got a hellish flow. Before the spiritual, I make them see the Holy Ghost. Let's bury these niggas and raise a toast to the Aborigines. That's from time immemorial. A Tachan is from the soil. Every rhyme is that cook coke, that hard boil. My energy is unattainable. And for you $5 Indians, I might have to flame a few. Run up on the res, you know we're blazing through. Turn your gang into turtle soup. I aim for the head when I shoot. I take your top off like you do the coop. I took a drink from the fountain of truth. Now these bars is the burden of proof. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, so you gon' have to acknowledge the God. Drake Cobbs, I take your face off. My style is like cocaine raw. You gon' have to bow down to my Jaguar paw, or I'm coming like Leatherface with the chainsaw. I ride for my road dog like a new age outlaw. I do it to death like Chief Cornstalk. So fuck all your tough talk. You little pigeons can't fly with hawks. That'll get you outlined and chalk. It's a supreme being here to electrify your chakra. Any drama is mask on like the Phantom of the Opera. I got the hunger and you niggas looking like pasta. Shrimp over the lobster and I'm smoking like a roster. Check my posture. It's only one American, the rest of y'all imposters. Cause you don't want Dre to pop up. Cause it's like boys in the hood. I'm out the window with the shoddy, nigga. When it comes to the mic, I'm like the coroner. All I catch is bodies, niggas. So look away before you come in my lane. It's arrows up. I just get it and aim. Yeah. Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make they world in. Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make they world in. Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make they world in. Fire!
Man, February 11th, you know what it is, man. Drake Cobbs in the building. Right here on the Autonomous Party Podcast and Mix Show. Oh.
Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make they world in. I'm going in the same dirt my ancestors buried in. I come from a god and a goddess, so what that make me? Not even Basquiat can trace me. Not even Van Gogh can paint me. The MC in me is the God MC. Equals the God in me. I'm focused in, let my mind be free. You too blind to see. The Jews I give is real. It's been real. These ain't shots, they missiles. All you gonna hear is the whistle. Lyrically, this the execution. My verses start revolutions for my people seeking restitution. Since the beginning, fuck evolution. Or maybe my reality is all a dream. I put it together like I was sowing seeds. So it seems this is that audio dopamine. Go against the machine. We put you where nobody can hear you scream. And sing you to meet your Elohim. My nigga, this is savage mode. It's something that you can't to go. It started with a spark and I'ma let it explode. I was given the cheat codes that'll let me dump and reload. And go through them waves like a fucking torpedo. You dealt the cards of life. I just cut them diamonds with the ace of spades. Y'all scatter like roaches when they facing raid. Or vampires when they facing blade. I'm trying to get next to Shireen like I'm getting played. You still stuck as a mental slave. You still stuck in that mental cage. While I'm making easy money, pimping hoes in style. This my coming to age. Crowd roar when I'm coming on stage. And when I'm done, they gonna be cheering my name. Drake Cobbs. And nah, I ain't quit my day job. I spit bars. I really rap on my day off. That's real shit. Just give you some tools you can build with. Aim high even if you still miss. Just keep going. It's a climb to the top. And I'ma keep flowing. Down Lake Shore, I'm Chicagoan. Yeah.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze, let's go.
Jack, back in the saddle. I'm here, moving at the speed of light, heading in the battle. Running through the dark in the night now. We gon' spread our wings and take flight now. You gotta let it rain out, they bring the rain down, they bring the flames down. This is the change now. Dance in the rain right now, ain't no games right now. Dance in the flames right now, there ain't no pain right now. I had enough, I got a strange feeling, I got a new healing, feel like a new human. So lost in the world out there, you need the same feelings, you need the new healing, become a new human. They say we strange, it's blood that's in our veins. Heaven's on the way, and love's the only way. Yeah, we're going up. I got a strange feeling, I got a new healing, feel like a new human. Let out the old things go, let out the good times go. Let out the old things go, we came to rock and roll. Brand new side with a brand new vision. We all gotta win now, my heart is all in now, committed. Brand new life with a brand new living, yeah. Get in the kid now, singing in the wind now. You gotta let it rain out, yeah, they bring the rain down, yeah, they bring the flames down. This is the change now. Yeah. Dance in the rain right now, yeah. Ain't no games right now. Yeah. Dance in the flames right now, yeah. There ain't no pain right now. I had enough. I got a strange feeling, I got a new healing, feel like a new human. So lost in the world out there, you need the same feeling, you need the new healing, become a new human. They say we strange, blood that's in our way, heaven's on the way, and love's the only way. Yeah, going up. I got a strange feeling, I got a new healing, feel like a new human. Let on the whole picture, let on the no human. Let on the whole picture, we gave the rock and no human. Let on the whole picture, let on the no human. Let on the whole picture, we gave the rock and no. I had enough. Woo! I got a strange feeling. I got a new healing. Feel like a new human. So loud in the word out there. Woo! You need the same feeling. You need the new healing. Become a new human. They say we strange. Blood that's in our way. Heaven's on the way. Love's the only way. Yeah, going up. Woo! I got a strange feeling. I got a new healing. Feel like a new human.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding broochies. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black force is the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigine, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white Aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are Aborigines. But you...
Yes, sir. You don't like to be called Aboriginal. Maroon from the Abba. That's what we've been reading. Maroon from the Abba state of mind right now. Got to get back to the source. Become that new human. You heard me? Got to cross over. You heard me? Got as we crossed over, tapped in with us live, MusicMediaLounge.com. As you know, always tapped in. We live from the booth, live from the studio. Shout out to through the campaign. You already know what that is. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. The campaign. Obviously, the Autonomous Party.com. You heard me? Tap in with us. Go check out the website. You know what I mean? Support, like, share, and all that good stuff. Appreciate wherever you're located at, live with us or after the fact. I tap into what we do weekly. You know what I'm saying? At the Autonomous Party podcast and mix show. Shout out to Blaze campaign mix 8 to 9 o'clock. You got to go to the website early, so that's why we pointed out. You can go to the website, or you can when we post it in Maroonville News. By the way, on the website weekly, you'll get the updates if you're following that. That's why you need to go there and check it, because you'll get the updates on everything we got going on and things we be sharing into the public side of the community, you hear me, through this podcast. So shout out to everybody in Maroonville, by the way, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the social club. Man, it's going to be a good one, man. It's Black History Month, they say, right? 28 days, 4 days in. So we got like 24. But we only going to get 4 Sundays out of that 28. You know what I'm saying? That's divided right, though. 4 times 7 is 28. You heard me? Don't let me get started. But, you know, it's your boy Mac 8, the BSB, the Maroonville Cavalry. You heard me? My man, Gotta Green, Baron P, Firebird, and everybody else. You already know what it is with the party. Tap in. Opie.
Tanahab Napi and be Wata Hushka Opi Miha. And I want to welcome everyone back to Uncovering Your Roots, Genealogy 101 with the Autonomous Party. So the video that we just watched, or that played previous to me coming on, I just wanted to say a couple things. That's pretty much an introduction about the free people of color. There's a whole series that they do, so you can go check that out on YouTube. Everything I wanted to say is, obviously I don't agree with everything that the people in the video were saying, but there were some things I did agree on. So again, just wanted to kind of give you guys an introduction on the free people of color. And what I wanted to do today actually is go into the freeafricanamericans.com website introduction. And I did this video probably about 2 or 3 years ago on my own channel. And I felt that it was time to drop this video on the Autonomous Party YouTube channel. So we're going to read through this, and I just wanted to say, first of all, a couple other things. So the information that we're going to cover, it's not my information. The person or people who wrote this is going to be Paul Henning. And let me get to the landing page for this. Just give me 1 second here. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So a lot of this information obviously was done by Paul Henning and historian Ira Berlin. So a lot of the digging up of sources and all the different things that they came across, it's their information that they found. Obviously, they're going to put it in, their understanding. And I just want to say, if any of the surnames that you see are your own people, I would never generalize people and say that, this covers every single person. Obviously, everyone's story is different. You have to get into your own genealogy, which is, what I've been preaching from the beginning.
The truth. He's been preaching that from the beginning. And you got to do your genealogy. Everybody's genealogy is very unique in Black History Month, as they will call it. It's not a monolith, as you know, free people of color, hidden things that's in there that you might find on your tree as you, reconnect to the tree. It's kind of like the tree is like your source, right? To reconnect to your genealogy tree is like connecting back to the tree on some Avatar type shit. Feel me? But we got to put things in perspective, dude. When you do certain names and certain things, we're going to get into that too. Matter of fact, there's a certain popular one that I'm going to a couple of names I'm going to throw out there tonight. You're going to see, you know what I mean? Got some certain names, but they also got some things interested with things that's tied to them. Some history, some Black history. Pull up, God, though. Let's get to it before our guest pulls up on us tonight for Aboriginal Wall Street. Black codes. Shout out to Tecumseh
Foundation.
Make sure you go check this out.
Known as the Black Laws, were originally inspired by King Louis XIV's Code Noir, an edict issued against Black Jews in French colonies that went alongside with the Edict of Fontainebleau. The edict made official the policy of persecution that was already in force since the Dragon Age. For those who don't know, the Black Codes of 1865 restricted Black people's right to own property, conduct business, buy and lease land, and move freely through public spaces. These codes allowed free people of color to access the legal system, marry, own property, and contract employment. In the courts, however, marriage between different races was punishable for both whites and blacks by life imprisonment. Limits were also placed on former slaves' ability to own property outside of the cities, and therefore to move from the cities and engage in their own farming or land ownership became infinitely more difficult. For more interesting facts like this, please like, share, and subscribe.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, I think I'm getting an echo. Is it me? All right, bet money. So Black Codes, Black History Month. Some things that we're gonna show interesting enough, even with the Black Codes and everything that's known. I know we've gone back to Nora Code 1685, obviously 1723. Black codes. They say in the first article, both codes have the same thing in common, based off the colonies, thought process on people subscribing to certain things as far as faith, which he mentioned, being Jews. But still, and all in all, the information that tied to this is interesting because it's another term that goes along with this term, Black code. Let me get that real quick. It's a little thing that's tied to that. So I thought we got to throw this slavery narrative they talk about, right? They talk about it. And we got the picture and everything for you. So to the left, though, immediately, literally is what it says. After the Civil War ended, Southern states enacted Black codes that allowed African Americans certain rights, such as legalized marriage, ownership of property, and limited access to the courts, but denied them the rights to testify against whites, to serve on juries, or in state militias, vote, or start a job without the approval of the previous employer. These codes were all repealed in 1866 when the Reconstruction began. But after the failure of Reconstruction in 1877 and the removal of Black men from the political offices, Southern states again enacted a series of laws intended to circumscribe to leave a job before an advance had been. I moved past something, didn't I? All right, thank you, brother. I jumped. See, I kind of like the fuck. That's me. I'm gonna go back and try that again. Southern states again enacted a series of laws intended to circumscribe the lives of African Americans. Harsh contract laws penalized anyone attempting to leave a job before an advance had been worked off. Pig laws unfairly penalized poor African Americans for crimes such as stealing a farm animal. And vagrancy statutes made it a crime to be unemployed. Many misdemeanors or tribal offenses were treated as felonies with harsh sentences and fines. Pig laws stayed on the books for decades and were expanded with even more discriminatory laws once the Jim Crow era began. So it's, using the word African American, right, in the context of whenever the article, PBS, right? It's PBS. PBS decided to, release it. But it's funny though. One of the things that the pig codes and then pig laws, kind of putting them together, let you know they're calling, derogatory to blacks pigs. You know what I'm saying? Now in history, just to put it out there, it's a group of people that the Negro, black. And it's a what they would call a Judaic term tied to the first article. You feel me? And that term Marano, maroon, cimarron, runaway cattle. You know what I mean? And particularly it had to be pork, right? Because they tell you not to eat pork, right? You know what I'm saying? That was something that I guess they said the Jews wouldn't do, but they act like they, was baptized and moving like a Christian. They would eat pork though, right? But I mean, it's still interesting enough. That's tied to this. There's some Black history facts if you didn't know. But either way, Black codes and pig laws. We can keep it sliding though. This Black codes. It's Black History Month now. 1865, 1866. What we got next? Ain't that in line? It's in line, right? 1866. You saw that? Remember the timeline? I just read with the last joint. So this is what website did this got? To make sure we get it, folks. Constitutioncenter.org. Because we want to kind of get closest to a source. The source. Civil Rights Act of 1866. Now, I want people to ask yourselves tonight, Black History Month. Most of us know about a Civil Rights Act of the Civil Rights era that's most popularly told to us, which is the time frame of Malcolm X, Martin Luther. You know what I'm talking about? 1960s. But this is 100 years before the time frame of this. I just want to make sure that that's funny enough. Some people might not know. They might want to go do some research about the Civil Rights Act of 1866. You can slide down a little bit. It's a summary. Shortly after ratification of the 13th Amendment in December 1865, on January 5th of 1866, Linham Trueball, the senator of Illinois, introduced the first federal civil rights bill in the nation's history. According to Trueball, the abstract truths and principles of the 13th Amendment meant nothing unless persons who are to be affected have some means of availing themselves of their benefits. President Andrew Johnson vetoed the bill, and ooh, I said it right the first time, huh? No, I didn't. I got it all wrong. Anagnostic, and that's I'm gonna go. Thank you. You said it better than me. I ain't gonna get it right though. But it's y'all see it, ANTAGONISTIC right there. It says to the claims of equality of African Americans, and inflexible in his belief that market forces would eventually resolve the issue. The veto message incensed Congress, who had before it mountains of evidence of widespread mistreatment of African Americans throughout the South by both private and public parties. Congress overrode Johnson's veto on April 9th, 1866, and elements of the Civil Rights Act of 1866 eventually became the template for the 14th Amendment. You heard that? There's a little history about the black situation when they tell you about us going from the 13 to the 14. You feel me? You see how they said public and private parties? You know what I'm talking about? Slide down a little bit. There's a lot of meat dealing with this if you didn't know. You know what I mean? Document experts and all that good stuff, Matter of fact, be enacted that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed, are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States, and such citizens of every race and color, without regard to any previous condition of slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall have the same right in every state and territory in the United States to make and enforce contracts, to sue, be parties, and give evidence, to inherit, purchase, lease, sell, hold, and convey real and personal property, and to full and equal benefit of all laws, proceedings for the security of person and property, as is enjoyed by white citizens, and shall be subject to like punishment, pains, and penalties, and none other any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom to the contrary, notwithstanding. Oh, we got a section 2. Go slide up a little bit, guys. Let me make sure they get this one. See, and be it further enacted that any person who, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, shall subject or cause to be subjected in any inhabitant of any state or territory to the deprivation of any right secured or protected by this act, or to different punishment, pains, or penalties on account of such person having at any time been held in a condition of slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, or by reason of his color or race, then is prescribed for the punishment of white persons, shall be deemed guilty of a misdemeanor, and on conviction shall be punished by fine not exceeding $1,000, or imprisonment not exceeding 1 year, or both in the discretion of the court. Woo! This is back then. You see that? This is 1866, but that they laid out. You hear me? Well, some of the things you hear about now when you go to court, when you get hit with certain misdemeanors, they can say that the biggest thing you can get hit with, right, is a year. That's not a year and a day. You know what I mean? Because when it's a year and a day, you go off to prison. You don't stay in the county or your state, in your territory that you broke the law in once you go past the year and a day. You know what I'm talking about? And now you're in federal and you can be sent anywhere based off the penalties of that jurisdictional law. You feel me? Make sure you know that. However, though, you're going to have to, matter of fact, guys, you can throw this link in the chat for the folks so they can go get this and read the whole thing for themselves. If you're not familiar with the 1866 Civil Rights Act, you know what I mean? And I know I was not taught in school, you know what I'm saying? College, middle school, high school, college, or even at my crib about an 1866 Civil Rights Act, because the first time I thought of the Civil Rights Act was Martin Luther King and the time frame of Malcolm X. You feel me? I'm being honest. My future say. I'm just being honest. But, you know, this is something just to think about, you know what I mean? And pay attention to. Is our guest pulled up on us yet? If you're here, we can get to it. Yeah? Not yet? All right. So, you know, as we wait for our guest to pull up on us, you know what I mean, at Thomas Couch and get busy. Matter of fact, go down a little bit more then. We got time. So I got some more stuff, but I'm trying to keep it in focus here. You know what I'm talking about? And be it further enacted that the district courts of the United States within their respective districts shall have exclusively of the courts of the several states. What's that? How do you pronounce that word? Cognized? I'm gonna mess up with the Z enough. I ain't gonna lie. It's a word that I don't use every day, huh? Well, I'm saying you a dictionary. Cognizance. Thank you, God. Of all crimes and offenses committed against the provisions of this act, and also concurrently with the circuit courts of the United States, of all causes, civil and criminal, affecting persons who are denied or cannot enforce in courts or judicial tribunals of the state or locality where they may be any of the rights secured to them by the first section of this act. Oh man, explore the full document. Slide down on it. Lord. You know what I'm saying? This is just make sure. This I think I'm gonna give you no more, huh? They don't even let you see no more. That's it. Read online. I just picked this one because it was the clearest one that you can get a good brownie for. Because it's like, again, have you heard anybody talk about this in school? Not 1866 Black History Month. Has anybody heard about 1866 Civil Rights Act? Black, anybody in the chat? Anybody in the chat recently that wasn't with us in Clubhouse? Huh? That's the only thing they tell you about, right? You know, they freed the slaves. Yeah, you were a slave, you got free, but we got some people doing some things before that time frame. So we know some things. Shout out to Opie Mihai when you do your genealogy and all them free people of color. You know what I'm saying? Prior to 1866, you know what I mean? Owning land and doing things in different situations. All various scenarios based off of your family tree. You know, shoot, we could actually pull up the video then. Let's go ahead and pull up the video. All right, here. Okay, cool. I didn't want to start before I talk to the man and this information he got going right now. Pull him up. Appreciate it. What they do, what's up?
What up?
What they do, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, bro. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm all right, man. Maranatha, man. Good to see you too. It's been a minute, man. We your family, everything good, everything kosher.
All's well, man. Thank God. Health is wealth, and everybody's healthy. So we're doing
For
well,
sure,
man.
for sure. I want because I seen the last video you just did, and we've been talking about this. I wish right now because there's so much stuff I got in my head. You put me on to buddy. We had him on our show. Who you were dealing with the infinite banking thing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Remember what's his name? What's his name right now? I can't remember. He popular.
Denzel.
What's wrong with me?
Denzel Rodriguez. Mm-hmm.
Yes, man. Denzel Rodriguez, man. It's been a minute. See, I ain't gonna lie. See, I don't front. Shout out to you, Denzel. My bad. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when he came on, I know that you were building with him. That's how we met him and got him on here to put that out on Aboriginal Wallstreet then. So now, like, it's been some time, and then I seen you creeping and dropping videos, and I'm like, what's Sab up to? All right, Sab, you're gonna have to put us on over here on the party, like, in that, because this is Aboriginal Wallstreet. We want the banking solutions. We want to know how to move autonomously in these different industries dealing with this finance. I mean, some of us have to learn, even myself, but still, that's why we bring you and Master Ether on to break some of these things down for us. You feel me? So, what you got before we play the video? You want to play the video first, and you break that down, or you want to?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Start there, and then we can bounce off that for sure.
For sure, we're gonna play the video, and then when we come back, I'm gonna let you go ahead and we can engage, and people can ask questions. Maybe they're in the chat, and tap in with us though. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Infinite banking, though. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we topic. You know what I'm saying? As it says right there, we're gonna get to it.
Back to the channel.
Tap in.
On this video, we're going to be talking about the hierarchy of financial needs by Abraham Maslow. Who is Abraham Maslow, and what is this hierarchy of financial needs, as well as what is the solution to this hierarchy? Without further ado, let's get right to it. So the hierarchy of financial needs was created by Abraham Maslow. And first, let's go ahead and dive into who is Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow lived from 1908 to 1970. He was an American psychologist who developed the hierarchy of needs. To explain human motivation, his theory suggested that people have a number of basic needs that must be met before people move up the hierarchy to pursue more social, emotional, and self-actualized needs. So this article I'm reading from a website called verywellmind.com, biography of Maslow, of Abraham Maslow. So you can reference that. It goes on to explain a little bit more about his life and his work and his study. During the 1950s, Maslow became one of the founders and driving forces behind the school of thought known as humanistic psychology. His theories, including the hierarchy of needs, self-actualization, and peak experiences, became a fundamental subject in the humanistic movement. He came up with these ideas, felt that Freud's psychoanalytic theory of Skinner's behavioral theory were too focused on the negative or pathological aspects of existence. He also felt that these theories neglected all of the potential and creativity that human beings possess. Maslow's theories were more focused on maximizing well-being and achieving one's full potential. So I'm not going to read all of this and go into in-depth more details about it, except that
his study. Stop real quick.
In his studies, he studied some of the most famous.
At any point, you want to stop us like how to stop, and you want to say something about it. You know what I mean? Let us know. It's your show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On
yeah,
this
for
part.
sure.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
This is just
if you want to ad lib or anything, you know what I mean? Because I know you probably know this by heart. You know what I'm saying? But if you know what I mean, at any point you see something that you might want to, go into a little more, you can stop it right there. You know what I mean? Let us know. It's on you.
All right.
You can keep going, or you want to say anything?
Yeah. No. Let's let it ride.
All right, bet money. Yep.
Famous and successful people at his time, including Albert Einstein, and he realized that all humans have a common thread that kind of run through them in terms of their hierarchy of needs and what's important to them. And so that's where he came up with this hierarchy of financial needs. Now, this version that we're looking at is edited by Visual Capitalist. So now we're looking at advisor.visualcapitalist.com, hierarchy of financial needs. And so there's a little slight modification to it, but they do give credit to Maslow for this hierarchy. So this version of it is updated for 2024 and dealing with, you know, a financial perspective. So when we look at this pyramid, we see that at the bottom that all human beings have a basic need for cash flow, and that includes food, housing, transportation, and daily expenses. Once you achieve that as a human being, once you have food, housing, transportation, and daily expenses, the natural next step is to make sure you have something like a buffer or an emergency fund to protect you in the event of an emergency. And that's also where insurance comes in. Once you have that in place, then the natural next step is accumulating wealth, which includes building investment portfolios, saving for retirement, and paying down debt. And then the natural progression from there is financial freedom, or what others like to call retirement. Financial freedom is a better term. And in your financial freedom stage of life, you look for long-term care, retirement savings, children's education, and vacations. And finally, your legacy, which is generational wealth. And then that leads to your estate planning, tax planning, and business succession planning, right? So this pyramid here is a very nicely laid out as a diagram of the hierarchy of needs. And though, you know, we all kind of start at the bottom of the cash flow and basic needs, there's no rule or law that says how this flows. So some people will jump straight to financial freedom or blend, you know, the different hierarchies here, the different stages, and they don't necessarily go through every stage, you know, cleanly. So that's normal and natural as well. Some points to make here. It says that just 47% of adults would have enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses. And that's scary, guys. You know, the fact that, you know, only 47% of adults can live off of 3 months savings if there was an emergency is a scary thought. And that's one of the first things that we have to address is our emergency fund. It also says that only 29% of Americans over 50 feel very prepared for retirement. And feeling prepared and being prepared are two different things. So if only 29% feel prepared, the percentage of people that are actually prepared are even lower, right? And so this is a problem, and this is something we need to look at as a individuals in our lives and for our families. And so the one solution that solves for all of this, it provides you with an emergency fund, it provides you with a retirement fund, and it provides you with an opportunity fund. So if there is an opportunity for investment, you have funds available to access, is going to be a whole life insurance policy with a major mutual company that is properly designed with maximum cash value. And with the major mutual, they're going to be paying dividends on that cash value growth. The growth inside that policy is going to be tax-free growth, and you're able to borrow against the policy for your emergency fund, for your opportunity fund, and for your retirement fund. And then, of course, it is a life insurance policy, so it has a death benefit, which is part of your legacy and generational wealth. And of course, that becomes part of your estate planning and tax planning. So the one product that can solve for that is a whole life policy with a major mutual. Let's take a closer look. You're going to see this is an example of a 39-year-old male who is does not smoke, no tobacco. And so we put on here a 30-year PUA rider, paid up additions, which is the cash vault, which then also increases the death benefit. So right out the gate, you see that this person has a contract premium of $111,048 a year. The net cash value, and this is the guaranteed column. So after year one, he has access to $95,380, and that's guaranteed. He can borrow up to 90% of that column, and that's why.
Go ahead, homie. What's up?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll share screen so we can see this clear because it's really small here.
Okay.
I have the exact same thing up. I'll go ahead and share that. And let me say this: I present this infinite banking strategy as the solution to the hierarchy of needs. Right, starting with your emergency fund, your opportunity fund, and then your retirement fund, and then ultimately generational wealth. But the thing about the strategy is that it doesn't work without gas. It's like a race car, right? If you can have the baddest car in the world, But if you don't have fuel, if you don't have gas, you're not even going to move off the finish line or the starting line. Sorry, right? You're going to be stationary. You're not moving. You're not doing nothing. So to fuel this, you have to have income. You have to have cash flow, right? So this is not a solution to your creating income or creating cash flow, but this is a solution of how you manage and steward that income and cash flow versus what we're traditionally taught to do is put our money in a savings account, which if you can find a savings account that's going to grow, give you maybe 3-4%, 5% interest, that's going to be taxable. That's taxable growth, right? And then on top of that, that money in that account is volatile, meaning it's subject to lawsuits. In most states, with a life insurance policy, money stored inside that policy, that cash value, is protected from litigation. So, this strategy or this solution here is giving you an alternative savings account. That's really what this is. This is not this is not what's going to get you rich. This is not what's going to create your wealth. It's what's going to store and protect your wealth. It is going to have gains in it. There's going to be compounding interest growth, and there's guarantees in that, right? Yes. And it's tax-free growth at that, right? And then the death benefit is generational. And if you set this up properly with a trust and you're a business owner, there's levels to this that, I'll explain.
Autonomous situation you talking about, I feel.
That's it.
So
this is not the solution to creating income. This is
it's not going to solve that problem. No, it's just like you said.
Right.
So make sure, because I know some people might maybe think in certain way when they set up certain things with a trust, or they have this obviously insurance policy that you're breaking down tied to the term infinite banking. You know what I'm saying? And people have to understand, like you said, that you obviously have to know how to generate the income.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then the income now you could put into these things that's going to be guaranteed and locked in, where it can give you interest and at the same time be able to go where you want it to go without being taxed. Am I right about that?
Correct. Exactly.
All right. Go ahead.
So,
go ahead, Seb.
So let me show you the share screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Let me find it. All right. So this is the exact same thing that I was showing in the video. Is everybody seeing that? There we go.
It's coming. There we go.
All right. Okay. So this is an example of a policy for a 39-year-old male, standard non-tobacco, meaning that's the health grade, which is probably like a middle level grade, average, not extra, not excellent health, but not bad health. So this is kind of a medium level health grade. Somebody who's now going to store, instead of putting $100,000 a year, okay, in a savings account, they're going to use this policy to store that cash. Okay. So there's a cost to that, right? There is a cost to the policy because you're buying insurance. Okay. Now, when you're buying life insurance, what you're really buying is a death benefit. So right off the bat, out the gate, if you look in this, there's two columns here. Sorry about that. There's a guaranteed column. You see that? Guaranteed. Okay. Right. That's a contractual obligation from the insurance company. They use the word guaranteed. It is a guarantee. Okay. So what you see happening in this column here is you can 100% bank on that and expect it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On this column over here, they cannot legally use the word guaranteed because, as you see, it says 100. It's an assumption based on 100% of the current dividend scale. Okay. So what are dividends? Dividends is the earnings of that particular company for that year. It's the profit that company gained in that year. And as a shareholder of the company, because this is a major mutual company that we're using, as a client, you become a shareholder. So your money, your cash that you store inside your policy, they pay you dividends on that because that's just what they do. Not all insurance companies do that. There's a lot of insurance companies. Not all of them do that. This only works in this environment where it's a major mutual company who's going to pay you dividends, and this is not investing in the index. This is not a risk model. This is not a policy or life insurance strategy where you're putting your money in a risk situation to try to trick the system and beat the stock market and have a bottom protection and a cap on the top and all that. That's volatile. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can lose a lot of money in that type of a policy. And your money's not going to be liquid immediately. You don't have instant access to that money. It can take years, 5, 10, 15 years before you can start borrowing or leveraging the money in that policy to do what you want to do in your business or in your investments, which, as we started, is where you're really going to make the money, right? So you feel me on that? Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah,
because
I do.
Again, why are we're putting the money in here, not just so it can sit here and do nothing, but we're putting it in here so that it can grow that compound interest guarantee. We can get those dividends and it's tax free. But then this column here, you see this net cash value right here? You see that net cash value? So on the guaranteed side, whichever side you want to look at is fine, right? I'm okay with you looking at the net cash value on the dividend side because I know that it's probably going to do something close to this, but it's not a guarantee because, for example, this company last year, the dividends were 5.25. Okay. This year, the dividends are 5.3. So the illustration from last year for this year, it would be a little bit different. Next year, it could be 5.4, it could be 5.2, but it's never going to drop like dramatically. You know, it never has. You can go back over 100 years and look at these major mutual companies and see that the dividends just slightly go up or down. And these companies have never not paid their dividends. That's something you can whatever you want to look at. If it makes you feel more comfortable to look at the guaranteed column because you want to make decisions in life for your future, right? For your future. That's what this is. This represents your future as I scroll down here, right? You want to make decisions about what you're going to be doing when you're 75 or 80 years old, when you're 30 years old, right? You don't want to do that off of a potential gain, but you want to do it off of a guarantee gain. That's fine, however you want to look at it, right? Now, this illustration that I'm showing you here, I designed it in a way as an insurance agent where I'm having this person, this hypothetical person, save $100,000 a year for almost 30 years, right? That's just this example. That's all this is. It's just an example, right? I could have this person saving, minimum is going to be 7 years. We have to save, right? And I could literally stop all premiums right there. Meaning on year 8, if you want to stop saving money and you want to stop paying the premium on the insurance policy, I can do that. I can stop it. But the insurance policy doesn't end. It doesn't close the policy or stop it. It's just now you're no longer going to add more money into it. Okay. I could probably create something real quick. We'll see how we do and show you guys an example of what I'm talking about, where you invest for. I hate using the word invest, where you save for a minimum amount of time, lock in the policy, lock in the compound interest growth and the guarantees, lock in the dividends, and then that money is going to be stored in that policy for the rest of your life. So what you're seeing here is somebody saving for 30 years, a little bit longer, 30. Okay, I have a little longer, about 36 years, right? That's what you see. But you see how it stopped right there, 0 right there. You see that 0? That means that there's no premium due on year 37. Again, I can push that all the way up here. Okay, it's just up to the individual and what do you want to do, right? So one of the things I always ask people is, if we are going to save for 10 years, what are you going to do on year 11? You're going to go back to putting your money in the savings account again? That wouldn't make sense, right? That wouldn't make
more savings.
No. So why would I do this? So that's why I like to illustrate this long-term strategy, because this is not like a temporary thing you do to just try to come up. This is a lifestyle adjustment. This is, okay, I'm going to create my own
lifestyle adjustment.
Banking, my own personal banking, family banking system using this insurance policy, okay, which the trust can be the owner of the policy,
right?
The individual is the insured, and then the trust can be the beneficiary.
There you go. Charge.
Now watch this. If if you educate the next generation or whoever it is that you're going to make the inheritor of the trust, the next person in line in your lineage, right? If they are properly educated on this, then when they inherit, let's just play with this example, and let's just say you started this policy when you were 39, and then you had one child. Let's keep it simple, and then when you were 70 years old, you passed away. And now you're going to leave this $8.7 million death benefit. You see that right there? $8.7 million death benefit is going to be left behind. So now that's going to go to the trust, right? Now, inside the trust, you could create written laws that literally define that for them to get access to that money, the only way they're going to actually be able to use it is to reinvest it in another policy. So now you're going to take 8.7 million. It stays tax-free. You're taking that tax-free death benefit and you're putting it right back into another policy, which is probably going to buy you, I don't know, maybe 20, 30, I don't know. Now we're talking about double, triple, quadruple that 8 million on the death benefit. And then you do it again. So now just imagine this 2-3 generations down the road.
Right. Crazy.
It's crazy. And that's just a generational wealth standpoint. And that's just tax-free.
But that is a generational wealth move right there.
That is it. That is it.
Because even listen, go ahead.
I was just going to say that it is highly unlikely that anybody, no matter how much money you earn, can out-earn the amount of death benefit that you can buy on an insurance policy based on your level of income.
That's
yeah. Do you understand what I just said?
Yeah.
That makes sense? Let me repeat that for whoever listening, right?
Family
it is
building and all that.
Highly unlikely that you're going to be able to out-earn the amount of death benefit that you can purchase based on whatever level of income you're at. So if you're at a 100,000 year earner income, you're going to be able to buy multi-million-dollar death benefit. You're not, if you didn't earn that much in your business, in your life, in your working years, you didn't, but you can buy that much death benefit. If you're at the $1 million level, you can buy multi-million dollars of death benefit. You never earned it in your living years, but you can buy that much death benefit. So it's highly unlikely that you can out-earn the amount of death benefit that you can buy. Now, the problem with most people is that they hear that conversation. They're like, well, okay, I'm 22. I'm 23. I ain't got no kids. I don't have anybody I'm going to leave anything for. I'm not worried about that.
That's different. But that's for those who ain't worried about their last name.
But the thing is that most people that say that only say that until that time comes.
That's real.
And then you look back and say, dang, I wish I would have started this 10 years ago. Or I wish I would have started this 30 years ago. I wish I would have started this. I'm 45. I wish I would have started this when I was 21, when I was 18.
Me too.
Because you could have been paying a very little minimum premium and you could have bought a whole lot of insurance for a very little cost. And by now you'd have millions of dollars of cash value that you can leverage.
That's real.
But hey,
locked in.
That's the problem. They got this song on the radio.
That's what we're putting out there right now. This is redemption for our people that didn't know this is how they can pass on generational wealth to our people who are in the lower parts of what they call the scale of getting paid in America. So, like you said, a lot of people that work 9 to 5s, they can still afford, if they're disciplined, to set up a policy and be able to understand for their children certain things. But either way, you know what I mean.
Look, so here's the same 39-year-old, but just doing $10,000. So on a smaller scale, here we are now. So we're not a 100,000 or even $1 million earner. We're earning maybe $50,000 to $70,000 a year, right? And so we don't have $100,000 to save, right? But we can allocate and save 10,000. All right. Before I go on though, the problem is that when you're young, you think that you're gonna live forever. You think that there's nothing that you can do that is going to have any repercussions. You think that you just do whatever you want and it's all good. They got a song on the radio today. And there's been songs throughout the ages where the chorus literally repeats, I'm never gonna get old. We're never gonna get old. We're gonna live forever. Gonna live forever, right? And they're lying to the youth, and we believe it when we're young. We believe that because we want to believe it because we want to have fun. We want to have fun. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to be promiscuous. We want to just do our thing. We don't want nobody to tell us what to do. And that's a thing that's been happening since the beginning of time with young people, right? But young people, if you're a young person and you're watching this, there is no better time for you to start being a good steward with your money and to start saving your money strategically than when you're young, because the cost for you to do that is so low, and the amount of time that you have to build up wealth passively by implementing a strategy like this is something that you can't buy back later on when you're 45, 50, 60, 70. You can't buy back that time. There's two things that are your worst enemy in life: time and gravity. So let me step off my soapbox. So anyways, looking at this policy, right? This is somebody saving just $10,000 a year. Now, what's the beautiful thing about this is that the savings that we have here, this $10,000 savings, is very flexible. So maybe I don't have a $10,000 savings year. That's my plan. I want to save $10,000. I have the ability to, but maybe my year doesn't go as planned. So I can only save $5,000. That's okay. There's no penalty to that. But the policy allows me to save up to $10,000, right?
Right.
My base cost on this policy, which is the cost of the insurance, which is paying for the death benefit, is $148, $147.79. That's my monthly cost on this particular example that we're looking at right now. Now, that is a commitment that I have to pay. If I don't pay that, that's the cost to the insurance company for the death benefit, for the policy. If I don't pay that, I will surrender my policy, and then whatever I got going on here falls apart. So no matter what, come hell or high water, I have to pay the base cost of my monthly premium. Just like you got to pay your car insurance, you got to pay your life insurance, your base cost, right? That's a commitment to the insurance company. The $10,000 in this example is a commitment to yourself. That's who that's a commitment to. That's a commitment to me, Sebastien. I'm going to save $10,000. I just don't want to save it in the bank. I want to save it in my bank that I'm creating inside this policy, so I could start seeing compound interest growth happening on the guaranteed column, and I can start seeing the dividends growing on this side as well. Now, this column that you see here with the net cash value, at any time, that money is essentially equity. Just like if you buy a real estate asset, as you make your mortgage payments, you get equity in the asset. That equity is, you can borrow against it, and you can get what's called a home equity line of credit. You can borrow against it, and you get a home equity line of credit that you can use to do whatever you want to do. Invest in your business, buy another property, fix up the property you have. You're leveraging your equity. The money does not leave the policy. It stays in the policy. And what you're able to do is get a policy loan against this equity, which means that they let you borrow up to 90% of this column that you see I'm hovering on here. Okay? Or if you want to look at the dividend side, 90% of this side, which it's guaranteed this side, but you can expect that you're going to see something close to this result here, right? But again, depending on how conservative you are, if you want to look at the guarantees, then just look at the guarantees. It's still a beautiful thing, however you look at it, right? So you're going to be able to borrow against that up to 90%. And what are you going to do with it? Well, guess what? Whatever you want. You could pay off debt. You could buy your car. You could pay for your kids' college tuition. If it's an emergency situation, that's your emergency fund. If you have an opportunity to invest your money in an asset, real estate, the stock market, crypto, whatever you want to do, you do it. it's your money. But it is a policy loan, right? So there's 3 parts to a banking scenario, a true banking relationship. You open up an account, you fund it, you build credit, right? They trust you. Then they offer you loans. You get a mortgage, you get a car loan, you get the credit card, you get the debt. What's the last part of that though? You got to pay it back.
Right.
You got to pay it back. If you don't pay back the debt, then it's an incomplete cycle, right? It's an incomplete. So now this is your bank. So you fund it, you can get a loan out against it, but you do have to pay it back. However, in the payback, the insurance carrier doesn't tell you what the date is as far as what's your due date. They don't give you a schedule. They don't tell you when or how much to pay. Period.
You just gotta know to put it back.
Exactly. So now, if you treat it like a bank would treat you, I'm gonna be my own bank, and I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna pay it back this way, and I'm gonna commit to that payback, right? What that's doing now, it's creating discipline and responsibility and commitment. It's gonna make you a better financial steward of your own money.
Like I using that word steward. That's real.
Okay, so now you're paying it back, but a tragedy happens. I need to tap in. I don't have it that month. Guess what? You don't pay it. There's no penalty. There's no late fee. You're not going to go to credit. You're not going to go to collections. None of that happens as long as you pay the base premium, the $147.79, right? Because that keeps the policy active. As long as you pay that, it's going to stay active. So when I help people set these up, I'll talk to people and they're like, yeah, I want to save $100,000. I'm like, well, how much have you saved in the last 5 years? $10,000. Okay, well, 100,000 sounds great. I agree with you. I want you to save 100,000, but
me too.
Let's get there. Let's take baby steps, right?
Right.
Let's
small.
create something that you can commit to on the base premium that no matter what, you can cover that, no matter what, and that you will most likely actually save. You actually put that money into that savings, right? Because there is a relationship between the cost of the base cost and the death benefit and how much you can save. It's called a modified endowment contract. So this is a life insurance contract. A life insurance contract is the only contract on the entire IRS tax code where you can put your money in and it can grow and it doesn't have taxes. It's tax-free growth. It's the only place. But if you overfund the policy above and beyond the limitations of what the policy is designed to allow you to fund, and this is regulated by the federal government, and the insurance carriers have to enforce it, right? It's a relationship between how old you are, the death benefit you have, and that's what dictates how much you can save, right? That's why you saw, if you look at this policy, you see that base premium, $147.79. Right. That's letting me save $10,000. If I go back over here to the $100,000 one, look at that base premium, big difference, right? But also look at the death benefit, big difference, right? But that's what's letting me save $100,000, the size of that death benefit, right? So here's the thing. You start with a smaller policy. Let's say it's a $10,000 one like this one. And then a year or two go by and you're like, yo, I got more money. I want to save. Guess what? That's a good problem to have. That means you're doing better than anticipated. We can open up as many of these contracts, as many of these policies as you can financially afford. You can have 10 of these with different insurance carriers allocated for different purposes. There's no limit as long as you can afford it, as long as it's in your means.
Yeah, I got to holler at you about something.
Yes, sir. Holler.
Yes.
All right. So with that said, this right here for me, when I look at this, there's nothing else that can do what this does, right? This is not meant to be what you use to become wealthy, but this is what you use to maintain and secure that wealth and protect it. And then when you need to tap in to access it, you can through using the policy loans. But there's a cost for the policy loan. You have to pay it back. Yeah, and there's an interest rate. I'm gonna show you how you offset that. This is how you offset it. Very simple. I'm a business owner. I take out a policy loan. Let's say let's say I got on when I'm 54 here, I have 222,000. I'm going to take out 150,000 policy loan. I'm going to borrow against it, right? This 222 does not leave the policy. It continues to grow. I'm not touching the money. They're giving me a loan separate from the policy. Okay. There are banks that will give you business cash lines of credit, business cash value lines of credit separate from the policy, or you can take the policy loan from the insurance company, right? So now I take this loan out. Either the trust takes the loan out or my person, Sebastien, takes the loan out, right? I have a business.
That's what I wanted to ask. So wait a second. You're saying that the trust can actually take the loan out for the policy?
Of course.
So in the policy would be actually taken out in the trust name, not in the person's name.
Correct.
All right, go ahead.
Correct. And then now I can make a loan from my trust or from me, Sebastien, to the business. I could charge my business the interest. And then when my business pays me back, that becomes a tax deduction for the business. There you go. So it's a win, 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 win. My money's now doing what, like about 5 or 6 things for me at the same time. It's growing compound
I thought you just
interest.
spit some music or something. I thought you was rapping just now, Sebastien. You saw my reaction? I was like, God damn, you dropping bars.
Hey man, I get excited about this, man, because you know what, man, my mother's living with me, and she's been here with me now since she had a stroke about 1.5 years ago.
How's she doing?
She's fine. She's doing all right. She's doing better. It's
I ain't seen your mom in a minute, man. So
it's a struggle. It is a struggle.
Shout out to your family.
Her health. Thank you, bro. But the point of me saying that is because these are things that could have been planned for in advance in her younger years. And she would have had protection, but she didn't know any better, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of snakes out there in the grass that are just manipulating people to buy insurance policies so they can make a lot of commission. Right. And those policies are not really going to be there to back you up when you really need them because they're volatile. And the problem with that is that if you're making plans on your life and your retirement for your elderly years and for your future generations, and somebody's showing you an illustration that doesn't actually manifest, then what they're doing is they're just pulling a fast one on you, and you're not, when the time comes, you won't even be able to reach them. They're just going to disappear. So what I'm trying to show people is that this is a safe, secure place to park your money, grow it, protect it, access it, leverage it, and then still leave that multi-generational wealth strategy, leveraging the trust, as we talked about. One other thing that to me is just the icing on the cake. These policies come with living benefits.
Go ahead, talk about it.
A living benefit would mean that if you become chronically ill, if you have a specified medical condition where you're unable to do at least 2 of 5 basic living things like dressing yourself, moving from one place to the other, bathing yourself, feeding yourself, if you're unable to do at least 2 of these 5 basic things, you're able to receive an advance from the death benefit in your life, which is tax-free, and you don't have to pay it back. It's not a loan. You're not borrowing against nothing.
Bars.
Your health insurance, your Medicaid, your Medicare, it's not going to cover that. It's not going to cover long-term in-home care when you can't take care of yourself and you're an older person. Who ends up having to do that is going to be your children. And then you're now putting a financial burden on them to pay for that care. By having these policies in place, if I become ill, if I become unable to care for myself, I can tap into an advance on my death benefit. And for me, that's life insurance because I'm using it in life. The death benefit, they should actually call that death insurance because that's only accessible after my death to the next generation, which is still a beautiful thing. But the fact that I have living benefits that I can tap into, and I'm going to tell you, this is a true story right now. One of my mentors who I've been learning this stuff from, and he's an extremely successful guy, very successful in real estate. He's leveraged these policies in the multi-millions to to invest in properties. He's building timeshares right now in the Dominican Republic. But his father-in-law, he had set him up with a policy. His father-in-law got cancer. And he was diagnosed with 6 months to live. This was four years ago. The doctor said there's nothing they could do, just give up. He was going to give up, but he did some research and he found some trial studies or some stuff they were doing in South America somewhere for the type of cancer he had, and he wanted to give it a shot. Well, of course, his health insurance were like, no way, we're not paying for that. He was able to tap into this, get that advance from the death benefit and pay for that. And he's still living today. This is life or death we're talking about. This is not just like financial blessings and gains. This is which is super important.
As a person that have experienced and survived what they would say a close call to cancer, and I've had to, have surgery when I was like 20 years old, do 9 months of chemo. That's why I'm bald today. Ultimately, I did get the chance to grow some hair, but it affected me at that time. Ultimately, but blessings to anybody that went through anything like that. I can understand and relate, and that's why these things are definitely important to understand. Because in life, you never know which way it's going to turn. You know what I'm saying? Because some things are outside of your control. Autonomously, as you might want to move. And that's why you would want to move in the most autonomous fashion in today's time, especially if you got a family and you're looking at generational wealth or dealing with what's going to happen after you leave this plane of action. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
at the end of the day, this if you want to play any other video, I think you just broke down a lot because we got like 15 minutes for
No, I took over that portion of the video. We don't need to continue.
Oh, you don't need it, huh? I had a feeling. I think you broke it down. I'm like,
I wanted the video to introduce the problem, which we all have the same. We all face the same, financial hierarchies of needs, which is why I really love that. I found that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I started researching him and the work that he did as a psychologist. And I mean, this dude like researched hundreds, if not thousands of people and found that everybody has the same, doesn't matter what race, color, creed you are, where you are in this world, we all have the same basic needs. Right. And as we fulfill those basic needs, it is natural for us to progress to the next level in the hierarchy of, okay, what are we going to do now? Once I got enough to protect myself, feed myself and feed my family, now I want to start saving it. I want to start storing it. Then once you have more, then you got that storage, then you want to start figuring out, okay, now how can I multiply it? Right? This is just a natural progression of how we behave as human beings. And it was just amazing to me, that, he pointed out these major funds that we have, the emergency fund, the opportunity fund, and the retirement fund. And I just thought it was a great way for me to try to bring across or to teach that we are all basically going through the same thing, but just at different stages and different levels. And some people, they might think that they're up here, but they don't even have an emergency fund. Like you don't even have enough money. Like you got money saved and invested in all types of assets, but if shit hit the fan, you don't have enough money available and accessible. I'm talking about accessible money. Accessible. Because when you put it in the Roth, when you put it in the 401k, you put it in the CDs, and you put it in certain investments, you can't access that money if it's an emergency. Then what? That's why people end up having to like foreclose or short sale or sell their properties or cash out on their investments and take losses because they don't have the emergency fund, right? So this solves for that. And the sooner you start is the better it's going to be. So if you look at the little sign above me, this is a new channel I'm going to be releasing. I haven't launched it yet. Yeah. And on this channel, this is all I'm going to talk about.
Infinite velocity.
Infinite velocity. On
like
my channel now.
Yourself. I like this. Okay. I like this turn. You turn it up. All right, Sab, you turn it up.
Hey
Turn it
man,
out.
there's
Go
no
ahead.
time to waste, bro. No time to waste,
Turn
man.
up. Turn up. Yeah.
You know, it's infinite velocity. So, you know, on my channel now, the approved guy, you know, I talk about personal credit, business financing.
Right.
I talk about the infinite banking, velocity banking. But it's you know, it's a mixture of stuff. But this channel, when I launched this one, the only content is going to be on infinite velocity. So what's velocity? Velocity is understanding how to leverage a line of credit to eliminate debt. And then ultimately, once you've eliminated the debt, to then turn around and leverage that line of credit to build wealth. Okay. And you can combine the infinite banking strategy with the velocity banking strategy. So there's a
product. Shit. You don't learn some shit.
There's
listening to you. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
There's a product on the market right now. It's called a first lien HELOC, a first position HELOC. So when in this country, 99% of us that own any kind of property take out a mortgage. And usually it's a 30-year amortized schedule, which means that you end up paying over 100% interest at the end of the 30 years.
Okay.
So people are getting they're fretting about how they got a low 3% interest rate. You don't have a 3% interest rate. That's what you're seeing on the front end. That's the annual percentage rate, APY. That is not what you pay at the end of the 30 years. Do the math and look at the fine print. You'll see it. It's there. As you make your mortgage payments on that property, that payment is now trapped, or that equity, because now you own that portion that you just paid. That's called equity. That equity stays trapped in the walls of that house or in that property. You can't access that equity until you have gained enough equity, and then you can borrow against that equity, and you can get a HELOC, or a home equity line of credit. Okay. Now, most home equity lines of credit are a second position, a second lien. So you keep the mortgage that you originally had, you continue to make payments on that, and your money continues to get trapped in the walls of the house. But maybe you had that property for 10 years, and now you have, I don't know, let's say $100,000 of equity from those first 10 years of payments. So you get that second lien HELOC. So now you have the first lien mortgage and a second lien HELOC. That's what most people do, right? What a first lien HELOC does is it takes the entire mortgage, all of it. And you could do this at the very beginning. So instead of even starting out with a regular mortgage, you could start out with a first lien HELOC, or you can refinance the property in its entirety, and you can put that entire property into a first lien HELOC. That first lien HELOC now means that every payment you make, instead of that payment going into the walls of the house, getting stuck in the property where you can't access it, every payment you make automatically gets transferred to the available line of credit.
Lord, you kicking some game right now.
Every time you make at the end of the day,
Wall Street, you heard me?
At the end of the day, before the next day, if I make a mortgage payment of $1,000 on a mortgage that's stuck in the walls, I make $1,000 payment into my first lien HELOC. Tomorrow, that $1,000, it's available on my line of credit. I could go spend it. Okay. Now, there's one more piece to this, which is that they attach a FDIC insured checking account to the account. So there's three parts to it. It's basically a mortgage, which is a HELOC. It is a HELOC that you have the line of credit you can draw from, and then they attached a checking account to it, and everything that you could do with a regular checking account, you have a debit card, you can make withdrawals, deposits, you can do wire transfers, everything you could do with a regular checking account, you could do with this checking account. But because they attach that checking account to this first lien HELOC, instead of you putting your income in your checking account with whatever other banks you have, you just put all your income in this checking account. And every single day, what they do is they look and they see how much money do you have sitting in your checking account. And they treat that money as if it was a payment that you made on the HELOC. Which means that whatever the interest rate is on that HELOC, because your income is affecting the balance of the HELOC, it's pushing the interest rate down. So if you have a 8% interest rate, 5% interest rate, 9% interest rate, 15%, it in a way, it matters, yes, but because your income is going to be treated as if it was a payment, it's going to push that balance down. And so every day when they calculate the interest, you're going to be calculated at a lower balance. Therefore, you're not going to pay the interest that you would if it was a regular second lien HELOC, much less if it was a regular mortgage.
Lord.
So when you combine the infinite banking strategy, and then you're looking to invest in assets, real estate, and you leverage that first lien HELOC, you can leverage that first lien HELOC for your own primary residence, and you could also use it for investment properties.
You got my mind thinking. I see my mind right now because of some of the things, I'll be into, you see what I'm saying? My mind is like, that's why I say, I want you to present it. I'm glad you did. Shout out to, everybody that's listening to this right now, because I think it's important. Especially because you've been on the show with us from the time we started, actually, you know what I'm saying? When I think about how we go back to having this at least once a month on occasion, sometimes not, but once a month, we try to keep a political, economic things that's tied to laws, things that tied to estate planning, trust, and that type of conversation, you know what I'm saying? My cousin, Master Ether, he was able to make it tonight. But I'm glad because actually we got a chance. It worked in how it's supposed to be. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? It worked in the line how it's supposed to be. So with your message and everything, because I know what you have a passion for, before we move, can be like 5 minutes before we got to, throw some things in there for Black History Month. And you can sit around with us for it if you know what I'm saying, if you want while you're here. If not, though, I appreciate you either way for pulling up and giving the people this information on Aboriginal Wall Street and the sector of information that I think is important for our people to know in our community. That's the loose, you heard me. So how do you look at now people, and other matter of fact, there's many groups of people, what I want to say, and I ask this question before you go, and you can say anything after that. You can close out on your thoughts of what you just presented and told people. When it comes to like a community, and there's many examples, right? And how they would now open up the same type of situation. Because I would say this, I'm going to ask this now. Let me revise what I'm about to say. How long in your knowledge of this thing we are today calling infinite banking and velocity, how long do you think this insurance policy has been available to be used in history?
Hundreds of years.
You say hundreds, meaning like 17,
I mean, I could say that in this country, that the quote unquote forefathers of this country, this is how they were banking. This is how they were banking before they created the Federal Reserve System.
Okay, before the Federal Reserve.
Yeah. This is how they were doing.
Wait. Are you saying before the Federal Reserve?
Yes.
That would be before. That means 1865. That would be before. That would be before the Constitution of America was laid out.
Correct.
That this system's been around is what you're telling me, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure we got that on the record. You know what I mean? From your recollection, from your understanding of you studying this historically, it's been around for that long.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And so families have been passing down this system and accumulating wealth by using this system.
Correct.
And passing it down in their legacy. Right. Yep. And they just keep getting richer and richer and richer and richer.
Correct.
Right. And there's another group of people, and it's not being taxed. And there's another group of people who don't know nothing about this, and their generations is just in debt, in debt.
Yep.
In debt.
They're the people who the banks were created for, which is
that part. That's want to point that out. Go ahead though. With that, if you agree with me. You know what I'm saying? You agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's a perfect way to end this. That's like slam dunk right there. I laid you up.
I appreciate you, alley-oop. You hear me? Yeah. So appreciate you, man. Because we just talked about. Matter of fact, that's why I asked you that question, because right before you came on, we played. Well, obviously we showed obviously certain things tied to the Black codes and the Black History Month, the laws and certain things, narratives tied to it, like the pig law term. But then, obviously, most people, and I want to ask you, I don't know if you was watching earlier before you came on to on live with us. Did you know about the 1866 Civil Rights Act?
I think I do. I think I did. Hold up.
Because most people I've been asking only think of the 1960s civil rights era with the acts that were passed. I think it's 1964 to be exact when the act was passed. Excuse me.
I'm just looking at it real quick. Hold up.
No problem. 1866. Matter of fact, you want to pull it back up real quick, God?
Yeah.
Everybody, we look at it again one more time on the screen before we play. Before we play what we about to play.
I wouldn't be able to speak on it intelligently, but I definitely, as I look at it, I definitely recall having read that and having gone through that in my studies throughout the years.
Okay. Bet money. Because some people don't know about this. You know what I mean? A lot of people I've come across in Black History Month, when I ask them about the civil rights era, or when's the first act tied to, they will point usually to the time frame when a certain person. We're gonna play the clip real quick. Matter of fact, pull it up real quick, just so everybody can see it one more time. The 1866 Civil Rights Act. I just want to flash it because we showed it earlier, and then we're gonna go to something though. Obviously, somebody at the time frame, and this is it right here in the summary, real quick. So it says shortly after the ratification of the 13th Amendment in December 1865, on January 5th, 1866, Lyman Trumbull, the senator of Illinois, introduced the first federal civil rights bill in the nation's history. According to Trumbull, the abstract truths and principles of the 13th Amendment meant nothing unless the persons who are to be affected have some means of availing themselves of their benefits. President Andrew Johnson vetoed the bill, and I messed up that word earlier. And how you said it? And how you say that word? I'm gonna pronounce it wrong. Seriously, at this point, it's the ANTG joint. I was messing that up earlier. Same word. Antagonistic. Thank you. I was getting tongue tied. So, to the claims of equality of African Americans, and inflexible in his belief that market forces would eventually resolve the issue. The veto message instanced Congress, who had before its mountains of evidence of widespread mistreatment of African Americans throughout the South by both private and public parties. Congress overrode Johnson's veto on April 9th, 1866, and elements of the Civil Rights Act of 1866 eventually became the template for the 14th Amendment. You see what I'm saying? So when people even talk about how blacks got into the position based off of like the Constitution, dealing with the Constitution and how we were brought into it, right? They say that's how they say it, right? 13th and 14th Amendment started to this, right? 1866 Civil Rights Act. See, that's how we got into the situation through the act. I never heard nobody really say it like that. That's why we brought it up tonight, just to make sure people will know they can go do their research on it. We ain't gonna go crazy on it, right? But we're gonna play a clip from somebody that I think kind of, we're gonna just throw a little Black history, because I know people know about Martin Luther, but we gotta give the man a shout out. I know we just celebrated him earlier before Black History Month, but still, because his birthday, he celebrated on the weekend. You already know they turn up. But there's some interesting things we're gonna show, being that it's tied to Black history with this. So Martin Luther, the Junior. Let's go.
Live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I'm
must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments. And I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go, and that we are involved in a war on Asian soil, which, if not checked and stopped, can poison the very soul of our nation. I'm not going to say that all of our problems will be solved if the war in Vietnam is ended, but I do say that the war makes it infinitely more difficult to deal with these problems. When a nation becomes obsessed with the guns of war, it loses its social perspective, and programs of social uplift suffer. This is just a fact of history, so that we do face many more difficulties as a result of the war. It's much more difficult to really arouse a conscience during a time of war. That is something about a war like this that makes people insensitive. It dulls the conscience. It strengthens the forces of reaction, and it brings into being bitterness and hatred and violence. I think the biggest problem now is that we got our gains over the last 12 years at bargain rate, so to speak. It didn't cost the nation anything. In fact, it helped the economic side of the nation to integrate lunch counters and public accommodations. It didn't cost the nation anything to get the right to vote established. Now we are confronting issues that cannot be solved without costing the nation billions of dollars. Now, I think this is where we're getting our greatest resistance. They may put it on many other things, but we can't get rid of slums and poverty without it costing the nation something. I feel that nonviolence is really the only way that we can follow, because violence is just so self-defeating. A riot ends up creating many more problems for the Negro community than it solves. You can, through violence, burn down a building, but you can't establish justice. You can murder a murderer, but you can't murder through violence. You can murder a hater, but you can't murder hate. And what we are trying to get rid of is hate and injustice and all of these other things that continue the long night of man's inhumanity to man.
He was talking, wasn't it, boy?
Man, he's so eloquent, bro. He's so
Hey, bro. Hey, he was talking shit.
In every city.
Levels.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Stop.
Hey, man, I had to play that clip, man, because it's something. I was gonna play something else he said, but it wasn't as long and complete, and I didn't think it was gonna really grasp what I want. But some things he's talking about, like with the nation, and again, it's still in that time frame when he's talking about the burning house, the statements he's making, like he's, and it's like the burning house part, in metaphorical, I look at, because of that 1866 Civil Rights Act, you know what I'm saying? Two things that's tied to this time frame too. Acts, things are acts. He's like, no acts of violence is gonna kill hate, you know what I'm saying? I feel him, you kill a hater, but you can't kill a hate. That was deep. That was a bar, you know what I'm saying? That was a bars. You know what I mean? God, pull up the next joint real quick, because look, it's gonna maybe he understood something that maybe the average person that wasn't in the circles and with his background of what his people's been dealing with. It's in his lineage. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're kind of early from a young, he was a very smart man, they say, but he was also surrounded with this situation too. So some quick facts about the man, just in case anybody didn't know. You know what I mean? Give him a shout out. I'm gonna get a little bit bigger for everybody, just in case they want to read it. Okay, thank you. Baptist minister, social activist, Martin Luther King Jr., 1929, 1968, dedicated his life to the nonviolent struggle for justice in the United States. All right, so now it says 1. King's birth name was Michael, not Martin. All right. King was born Michael King Jr. on January 15, 1929. Hey, real quick. Hey, you know when Biggie, and I'm saying, he kind of like, he said that joint about Michael, and Michael, the 3 mics. Anyway,
think he was referencing him. Hey, not to say not for nothing. I just want to say that I've been watching a new series they just released, MLK/X Revolution. It's on.
Oh,
I don't know if you watched it.
But nah, you just put me onto something. What is it? What is it?
It's MLK/X, and then I think it's something Revolution. It's just
what's that
I think it's on Disney.
Okay, it's on Disney Plus.
Yep. It's on Disney Plus.
On something. They trying to turn up.
So they're on the second episode. It's a series. They start the first episode is when they're basically telling both of their stories side by side, right? So they play like some of Martin's life, and then they just jump to X, and then they go back to Martin, and so their children, and you go through their childhood. But I know what we're reading right now because I learned this yesterday watching this on that series.
Oh, that's wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah. There's it's very interesting. It's actually really, really good.
Let's go get deep.
Yeah,
I hope they do. See, I didn't even know that. See, you just telling me something. I'm gonna go watch it myself because I've been just because of the things that I had to go back in it because of what I was reading in 1860. I was really on a time frame, and I've been really on the timeline of 1865 and recent. You know what I'm saying? And really just really, I'm gonna say from the American Revolution. 1775 going into 1865. I've been really tracking that period in American history for certain reasons. At the same time, though, this right here say Baptist minister, and so I read that. Number 1, King's name, as again, it said Michael, not Martin. King was born Michael King Jr. on January 5th, 1929. In 1934, however, his father, a pastor at Atlanta's Ebenezer, shout out to Ebenezer. I mean, family went to Ebenezer Baptist Church down here in Upton. Baptist Church traveled to Germany, Moravians, and become not them though. I'm just saying I always think about Moravians when I think about Germany and mix no dope. It says and became inspired by the Protestant Reformation leader Martin Luther. All right, and then it says as a result, King Sr. changed his name as well as that of his 5-year-old son. All right. So it says King entered college at the age of 15. King was such a gifted student that he skipped grades 9 and 12 before enrolling in 1944 at Morehouse College, the alma mater of his father and his maternal grandfather. Now remember this. That's his mama's daddy. Okay. That's his mama's daddy, all right? All right, so genealogy-wise, so you can stay on track. Matrilineal grandfather. That's his mama's daddy, all right? Grandfather. Now, 3, King received his doctorate in systematic theology. Interesting. After earning a divinity degree from Pennsylvania Kosser Theological Seminary, King attended graduate school at Boston University, where he received his PhD in 1955. King's I Have a Dream speech was not his first at Lincoln Memorial. 6 years before his iconic oration at the March on Washington, King was among the civil rights leaders who spoke in the shadow of the great emancipator during the prayer pilgrimage for freedom on May 17th, 1957. That's way before that time frame. See, at that time, like 10 years in the game. King's mother was also slain by a bullet, unfortunately. Yes. And we're going to talk about her a little bit more too. On June 30th, 1974, as 69-year-old Alberta Williams, remember that last name Williams, King, played the organ at Sunday service inside Ebenezer Baptist Church. Marcus Wayne Sheanut, and I say that right? Sheanut, that's how I pronounced it. Jr. rose from the front pew, drew 2 pistols, and began to fire shots. One of the bullets struck and killed King, who died steps from her son had preached nonviolence. You know what I mean? That's all that is. These are 5 interesting things. In case you didn't know, we're just refreshing it. You know what I mean? Because it's something else, we can keep going, though. Just wanted to put that out there. Now, remember the Williams side. I got shout out to my father's side, Williams. You know what I'm saying? Because my Williams married Browns. You see what I'm saying? The Williams. No, all right? So shout out to my Williams out there. Out of Georgia, into Florida, and all other places we have been scattered. But this Williams right here in Georgia, Ebenezer. Now, it's interesting. This is his grandfather, all right? This is his mama's father. He in the game, early in the game, in the church, see? So Ebenezer, that you're hearing about with Martin Luther later on, and even his father, who went to Germany and everything, is still tied to Ebenezer, okay? Ebenezer been in the game for a minute, all right? Very popular. You should know that, black folk. At the same time, this is his name. That's his grandfather's name. Now, although likely born in 1861, now the man was born before 1865, before the civil rights originally done, right? He's born before that time. This is A.D. Williams, the grandfather of Martin Luther King, celebrated 2nd January 1863, the day after the effective date of the Emancipation Proclamation, as his birthday. Williams was one of the pioneers of distinctive African-American version of the social gospel, endorsing a strategy that combined elements of Booker T. Washington's emphasis on black business development and W.E. Du Bois' call for civil rights activism. A pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church for over 25 years, Williams infused his ministry and social activism by helping found the Atlanta chapter of the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. All right. So when you hear about Martin dealing with the NAACP at that time, he did it because his grandfather was doing it. He the one that brought it to Atlanta with the Ebenezer community. You know what I'm saying? This is some black history, just in case y'all didn't know. All right. Born in Greene County, Georgia, to slaves Willis and Lyceria Williams. Interesting that they call him a slave, but you got to say that. But that's the same name. It's like that could be his people's, ain't it? But we say slaves. See how they say 2 slaves, and Willis and Lyceria Williams. I said her name wrong. Patricia. That's right. Patricia. Interesting. A.D. spent his childhood on Williams Plantation. After the death of his father in 1874, he and his family moved to nearby Skull Shoals, a rural community on the Ocean River. Williams' desire to follow his father, an old slavery time preacher, into the ministry was evident even as a child, when it was his greatest pleasure to preach the funeral of snakes, cats, dogs, horses, or anything that died. The children of the community would call him to preach the funeral, and they would have a big shout. Although he was unable to attend school because of the demands of sharecropping, the 7-year-old Williams reportedly attracted the people for miles around with his ability to count. Taught by several ministers in the community, Williams earned his license to preach in April 1888. During the late 1880s and early 1890s, A.D. Williams tried to make a living as an itinerant preacher while supplementing his income with other work. An injury in the sawmill accident left him with only the nub of a thumb on his right hand. Seeking better opportunities elsewhere, Williams joined the Black Exodus from Greene County. In January 1893, he left for Atlanta, where he was called to pastorate of Atlanta's Ebenezer Baptist Church. You know what I'm saying? And now, although Ebenezer had only 13 members when he arrived, the congregation grew to 400 members in 1903. Recognizing that this long-term success as an urban minister required that he overcome his academic limitations, Williams enrolled at Atlanta Baptist College, later named Morehouse College, and in May 1898 received his certificate from the ministerial program. While in Atlanta, Williams met Jenny Celeste Parks. The two were married on 29 October 1899. On 13th of September 1903, she gave birth at home to the only surviving child, Alberta Christine Williams, the mother of Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? In September 1895, what's it again?
I said that's beautiful. It's just
It's crazy.
The story.
How the story is crazy,
history.
right?
Yeah.
Genealogy and history, right? You know what I mean? So in September 1895, Williams joined 2,000 other delegates and visitors at Friendship Baptist Church to organize the National Baptist Convention, the largest black organization in the United States. By 1904, Williams was president of the Atlanta Baptist Ministries Union and chairman of both the executive board and finance committee of the General State Baptist Convention. In 1906, Williams helped organize the Georgia Equal Rights League to protest the white primary system. In early 1917, he became involved in an effort to organize a local branch of NAACP. Williams described in one account as forceful, impressive speakers, a good organizer and leader, a man of vision and brilliant imagination, which he sometimes finds it necessary to curb. Experienced early success as an NAACP leader, becoming branch president in 1918. During his tenure, the branch grew to 1,400 members. Within 5 months, and the newly invigorated NAACP spearheaded a major effort to register black voters. In a speech to the NAACP National Convention the following year, he convinced the delegates to meet in Atlanta in 1920, the first national NAACP convention to meet in the South. There's a timeline to this. That's why I like this one right here. I said in 1926, Williams' daughter, Alberta Christine, married Martin Luther King, who as obviously senior was called Michael King. And it says, who eventually succeeded him as, who eventually succeeded him as pastor of Ebenezer. So his grandfather spearheaded the movement. Martin Luther King Jr.'s father succeeded Martin Luther King's grandfather. You see what I'm saying? Keep that in line. You heard me? Everybody wants to know how this works in the timeline. And then, as it says, when Williams died in 1931, his obituary was effusive. AD was a signpost among his neighbors, a mighty oak in the Baptist forest of the nation. He was a preacher of unusual power, an appealing experimentalist, a pervasive evangelist, and a convincing doctrinarian. You heard me? Now, some people don't know the story before you always hear about Martin Luther King Jr. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know the lineup of how he's influenced to even move and do what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? That's why people should walk back their trees, right? But this is what we did tonight for Martin, and just to show people a little other side of why he did and why he was so influenced based off what he's coming from. Look what he's coming from. Look what his grandfather was. It's like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's in his blood, literally, on both sides. On both sides. So, pull up, guys. We go to the next chart real quick. We got a time move. I'm trying to stay on the timeline, like how we do with this timeline. When we present this, it's interesting things we found out about Martin. Just things we want. There's a lot more, but we just, next week, we can go into some deeper things. But for right now, it's this right here. I found this and we came across this. Now, this is the interesting thing about his mama, right? You know what I'm saying? As they say, the Williams. Matter of fact, stop right there. You can make that bigger. This came up And we thought this was interesting. When it said the proud history of Black Seminoles and certain things, right? In the 1700s, yeah, that's right there. It says in the 1700s, they were called musties. They might say Black Creeks. We would say Escalus. George Gist, Sokoa, that's another name for Sokoa for those that don't know, that was writing that the language of the Creek of the Cherokee up there. Yeah, was actually the son of a musty mother. This word musty is our way of saying mulatto. You know what I mean? Mixed nature and stuff. All right, so and it says musty mother, it says slave from South Carolina, and an Ashkenazi Jewish father, trader, but considered himself Cherokee. The Black Seminoles became the original Buffalo Soldier, Coretta Scott King. You see, Coretta Scott King was another famous musty. Her Alabama family considered themselves Creek until she married the Reverend Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? This is Martin Luther King's wife. Feel me? Musty families were also some of the original settlers of the Native American community where my grandmother grew up, Rutgers Bottom, on the Savannah River in Georgia. So I just wanted to throw that. That was interesting. Go check Homeboy out right there. I'm giving him a plug out. We're going to keep it moving. Give him a plug. Richard L. Thornton, architect. Check out the website. He be dropping all sorts of stuff for those digging history in the books and these things. I just be keeping honest. You know what I mean? I be being honest. I'm keeping the action straight up. So, this, all right, last joint right here. I think we last one, right? We almost last one? Almost done? Almost done. We almost there, y'all. Just the slide, make sure I'm on my order now. Coming back to again to what I think hasn't also been mentioned in Black History Month, which I think that his grandfather, was born, just like how you mentioned earlier, with the presentation of the insurance policies and economic wealth and everything that's been going on before these things were being passed in America. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting in itself. But within the timeline of everything that we talked about and how this is lining up, this landmark legislation that was passed in 1862. See what I'm saying? So to help develop the American West and spur economic growth, Congress passed the Homestead Act of 1862, which provided 160 acres of federal land to anyone who agreed to farm the land. And the act distributed millions of acres of Western land to individual settlers until the Civil War. Opposition from Southern legislators who feared homesteaders would work to prevent slavery in new territories, and some Northern legislators who feared the cheap land with lower property values and lure laborers west prevented passage of the legislation. But with the dramatic departure of the Southern senators in 1861, supporters finally succeeded similar legislation, the Southern Homestead Act of 1866. Pause. The Southern Homestead Act of 1866 is different from the 1862 that's going out west. One is going west of the Mississippi. The territories in the southeast is tied to the Southern Homestead Act of 1866. So then offered the same promise of loyal Southerners and freedmen who could settle public lands. Passage of these acts encouraged farming of more land during the war years, and continued to do so for decades to come. By 1890, the federal government had granted 373,000 homesteads on some 48 million acres of undeveloped land. You sure I think that was it though, ain't it? That's all we need. That's just to correlate to let you know in 1866, they passed the Civil Rights Act that correlates to a Southern Homestead Act in 1866 as well. Black History Month, y'all. There's something that same year, things you go see. You know what I mean? Boom. Anything you want to say before we slide about that? What you think about that?
I just wanted to, because I've recently learned about a personality of a brother that is one of my new Black heroes, and I don't know if you've covered him on on your show, but I'm sure you're familiar with Bass Reeves, Lawman Bass Reeves. Yeah, have you covered him and talked about him at all?
I mean, we ain't got into detail about him, but we know about Bass. You know, we know about. They got a show on them and everything right now, right?
Yeah, it's really good, very good. At least from my take on it. It's just it's just, the reason I'm like he's on top of my mind as we're talking is because he literally lived from 1838 to 1910, and so
it's all this time period, right?
Yeah, and he was the first, or well, one of the first Black deputy U.S. Marshals. Where was he? West of the Mississippi.
West of the Mississippi,
and overseeing an Indian territory.
Buffalo Soldiers,
yeah. So, I just wanted to bring him in to the just highlight, just say that somebody I've recently learned about in the last year, and I just thought somebody I wanted to give props and recognition to.
For sure, I think that's why this is interesting information, man. I think we got one more joint, right? And this is the last one because we just wanted to put that and land on that. Aboriginal Wallstreet happens to be the first Sunday of Black History Month. We always got to give them real-time things for today that you presented, and that's why we bring y'all specialists like yourself on here to present these things from the business side to the estate side to the insurance side and everything. You know what I'm saying? But this Homestead Act, once again, 1862, just to put it there, you know what I mean? Make sure you know. Was this the one? Is this here? Slide down. I think this is just a document, really, right here. Huh? Yeah, it's just a document right here. We already done, broke down the other one. I mean, this right here, 1904 and all that. It was that's what it was. But I think we already did it, though. I think we already covered it in. So we good. That was it. That was just another Homestead picture of the document. That's all. No, but either way though, we appreciate everybody that pulled up. Sad man, anything you want to say before you get out of here? Thank you for hanging around after your presentation. What you think about it though? About that last part of it, by the way.
What I think about it is knowledge is power, man, and I'm empowered because I didn't know these things, and just going through the history and the timeline of Martin Luther King and his genealogy. It's just nothing actually ever happens outside of there's always a sequence. Nothing happens by itself independently of other circumstances. You know what I'm saying? And just like we see people that become real successful in life and whatever, we look at them, we're like, oh, we want what they have, but you don't know what that person did to get what they have. You don't know what they went through, and we see Martin Luther King and we're like, oh, he's an anomaly, he's unique, and he is, but so was his father, so was his grandfather, and highlighting that is like it's just not one man that was unique, but that's a bloodline of uniqueness. And how far back does that bloodline go of unique power, anointing that was flowing through those generations, those men, those people, and that's a beautiful thing, because it makes him less mysterious, makes him less it makes him less of like an anomaly and more of a normal personality, in the genealogy and the history of his bloodline, which for me is like it just makes it seem, it makes it more like just more normal. Greatness is normal, it's not abnormal. And I think that a lot of people look at somebody like Martin Luther King, think, oh, he's not normal. His personality and his greatness is something just
it's like Like, you know, hey, like that's why you gotta look at it. Sab, like it's like your family is into something. It's like Michael Jackson, your family is into something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and you're talented too. You just happen to be the one to catch fire. You know what I'm talking about? Like, okay, because it's around you, and you're like, you're the youngest one, and you're like, oh, time and hitting, bling. Okay, I catch it because it's like you're around it every day. But no, I got my flow with it. You know what I'm saying? Now it's the same way. Hey, and that one child out the group. You know what I'm saying?
It was just all variables came together in a perfect time, perfect storm for this manifestation of greatness to just boom. And like,
I mean, but
the world.
He's literally passing down a lineage from a pastor to pastor to pastor, 3 generations.
Yeah.
From his grandfather through his mother. Interesting. His mother's father is putting on his Martin Luther King's father, who marries into the family. You know what I'm saying? So the king is Michael King Sr. is marrying into A.D. Williams' family. You know what I'm saying? And his daughter now is, you know what I'm saying, has a child who is, you know what I mean? Mike, and remember, brother. You know what I'm saying? Michael King wasn't the only child. You feel me? But at the same time, now look, you know what I'm saying? Boom, look at the path he took. You know what I mean? How smart he was in general. But, you know, that's lineage right there. That's something that people might not go down and look at it from that angle. Then the woman that he marries, who I brought up, she got a whole interesting because she's a Scot. And now a Scot marries a king. And now and you know what I mean? They have children, right? So now you got this tree, you know what I'm saying? Coming out of Alabama, Georgia. And that's why people need to go into these things in Black History Month. Outside of the fact that, again, shout out to you again for the like present day times of remedies that we could do to move a certain way and at a timeless fashion lawfully on the book, sir. I appreciate you for that.
Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you.
Anytime. Till next time. You know what it is. Peace and love, bro.
Peace.
And y'all, I appreciate y'all for pulling up on us tonight with our guests. You know what I'm saying? And next month, Aboriginal Wall Street, we've been doing the Finlit. You're going to go back to the last time we had Master Ether on here. He did the Finlit, and that Finlit was popping. I mean, giving facts like when Seb the Proof guy pull up on us, he dropping facts. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it over here at the party. You know what I'm saying? So next month, March 1st, whatever it is, on the first Sunday, okay, that pull up on us, Aboriginal Wall Street. Master Ether got some shit popping. We're going to go into some cryptocurrency things. And just like how he just showed you this thing, we're going to show you another thing. And we're going to go month to month, you heard me, with the Aboriginal Wall Street. But at the same time, next week, we got some things popping. Drake Cobbs is pulling up on us with the music and everything we've been playing for the last, I'm going to say 30 days, you know what I mean? And 28 days. Pull up on us next week, Sunday. We got a lot more going on outside of the guests pulling up on us. Maroonville, basically. It's Maroonville and Black History Month for us. You know what I mean? So we're going to be hitting a couple different things next week. There's some different guests maybe that we pulling up outside of Drake Cobbs for the first part of the conversation with his new music that we've been hearing. For everybody, pull up. Y'all see y'all during the week. Maranatha, peace and love. And that's all we got to say. And the harsh reality is live life autonomously. Till next time. Give me that maroon J before we slide though. Tap in with us though.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plot murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments tried to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black force is the same color the European. Part of my autonomy, I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. But you never find a white Aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are Aborigines, but you don't like to be called an Aborigine.